First today, we're talking to someone who's using his talent to try to make a difference. He's a dancer and choreographer who specialises in African dance and hip-hop. But he's also a mentor who's been recruited to work with young people in North Africa as part of a programme to try to combat militancy in the region. His name is Hakeem Onibudo, and he's here with me now. Welcome to the programme.
Welcome. Nice to meet you.
We're going to talk to you properly in just a moment, but first I want to have a little look at some of your work.
Sure.
You do movement for one word. So if your word was forever, that means forever. Yeah?
Can we improvise at the moment?
You can improvise if you want to, but try and keep something that's consistent.
Wow, some moves. So tell me what we were seeing there.
So you've seen a group of 10 b-boys from North Africa, ranging from Libya, Algeria, Morocco and Tunisia, who I started to work with in March 2014. I was asked by the British Council to go out and scout for talent to work on a project called Say It Through Breakdancing. I managed to find these 10 young people, and we went through a journey of them trying to come out of what we call the battle scene, because b-boys are used to battling each other, basically dancing to see who's be the victor. And what we wanted to do was give them a sense of how they can actually create work in a theatrical sense, and really talk about what they were doing in terms of how they reacted to the Arab Spring and what was going on in their region and their country.
Mm-hmm. We said in the lead into this that it was preventing militancy. To what extent is that the case? How was that doing that, your project?
You could say militancy, but I mean, it prevents lots of different things, you know, getting into gangs, any form of extreme behaviour. And extreme behaviour doesn't just necessarily mean militancy. It could be, as I said, getting into gangs, poverty, not really doing anything. But I think the most important thing that is proved in North Africa, and what it also proves here in the UK, is that when you can engage young people with a medium that they're interested in, I think they then have a chance to channel their energies in something positive and learn leadership skills, life skills. And even if they don't end up being a dancer, there's an opportunity for them to have a positive career path.
Yeah. And where you were doing this in Tunisia, the whole culture of breakdancing had been suppressed to a certain extent, hadn't it? Tell me about that.
Yes, I mean, people were doing it underground, but it's not something that you could go out and celebrate on the streets. But there was definitely an underground movement. Obviously, there was a lot of things going on with the Ben Ali regime, for instance, in Tunisia. People were focused on more pressing concerns, but there was still a movement. But now things have become easier for young artists to express themselves through this art form on the street. So it was difficult, but now it's moving forward in a positive way.
And you were uniting disparate groups through this because you had kids from all over that region.
That's right.
Was there much suspicion among them initially?
Yes, the major suspicion was about myself. Right. Coming from the UK. It was like, you know, they were just very standoffish, like, what do you want from us? This is what we do, we dance, we don't need you. Until I'd really kind of worked with them for 2 days and really expressed my interest for them to explore their stories. It was very closed shop, but after a while, I used all kind of my skill set to kind of like break those barriers, ice break, and give them belief that actually what was more important was not myself, but them as individuals and what they could go on to become as individuals.
And those B-boys and B-girls, which you were telling me is the proper name for what people often call breakdancers, but that's the incorrect term. They then came over to the UK and they performed here. How did that go down?
Yes, they came over to a large venue here last August. It went down very well. There was a real interest. I think there was an interest generally from dancers, but there was also an interest from people generally who wanted to kind of connect with the region and see what was going on. The experience was quite large for them, let's just say. They were a bit overwhelmed by the size of London, the size of venues, how busy it was. But they performed very well, and I think that's a real important kind of marker in their learning to move them forward.
This great project is only a small part of your career, your 20-year career, which is being celebrated at Sadler's Wells Theatre in London in December. What can we expect to see in that? Wow.
So this story is going to be brought to life in kind of two parts, really. The first half is going to be an interactive conversation with a very inspiring person, Kenneth Tharp, who's the CEO of the place, OBE. And he's going to be looking at my story and taking certain sections from my story, 3 sections actually. One's going to be called Motivate, Lead and Inspire, one section's going to be called Challenges, and one section's going to be called The Vision. And he's going to be pulling out questions about my journey, and at strategic positions and points in the evening, we're going to have pop-up pieces of dance to kind of celebrate and to enforce the story I'm telling. And then in the second half of the show, we're going to kind of go a bit more open, impromptu, and have acts not just from the dance world, but also from singing, MCs, DJs, and beatboxers, etc. So it's going to be a very, 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 very crazy celebration of 20 years.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for coming on to tell us about it. Hakeem Onibudo. Thank you
very much.